Okay, good evening, leaders. If you can hear me, let me know on your end. Milka, I think I saw your message, so we'll use the chat. First, I want to congratulate you for being on time. This being our second level. Okay, in really sense, is the first level, but since we are interacting for the second time, I think we have already perfected some aspects, especially on the aspect of time. So congratulations to Benson and Milka for keeping time. And it's quite an intense, so we'll just want to move straight to the discussions. So let's just open with a word of prayer, then I will have some time just to introduce ourselves. Then from there, we'll move on. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are grateful tonight, and we thank you for the moment that you have given us as leaders, as we continue, Lord, to discuss the issue of leadership, as we continue to desire to reflect your leadership model and qualities and character. It's our prayer that as we discuss tonight, continue, Lord, enhancing and helping us to be able to reflect the leadership that brings glory and honor to you. We pray for knowledge, we pray for understanding, and we pray for wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. So let me open just probably for 2 minutes or so. We are not meeting for the first time, so it's good just to introduce ourselves so that we know who is who. You can just mention your name and your cohort, and maybe your reflection so far. How has been the journey from the last time we interacted undertaking the Global Leadership Network Masterclass? So I think that will prepare the space for our discussion tonight. So let me start with Mr. Benson Donjira. Milka, maybe you can introduce yourself on the chat and read through. Then we'll move on to Mr. Gidiomi. So Benson, please proceed and introduce yourself.
Good evening, leaders.
Good evening.
Now, I'm Benson Tonjira, cohort for. Yes, and my experience since the last time we met is that we have some of the things that we learned. I've tried to apply them in whatever I'm doing at the moment, and that we need to do, because there are some that we normally do. We don't know whether are we right where we are doing it. So when we remember some of the things that we are supposed to apply, some of the things that we learned, we know the best way to go. Things that I learned and which have taken me until now is that influence someone, you actually need to understand yourself and know what I'm doing. Is it helpful to me? Will it, when I try to do it to somebody, as I explain it to somebody, when somebody sees what, will that help that person to change, or will it bring him down, or how will it affect that person? And then the other thing is about the vision. The vision that one has will actually determine the purpose of you in life. And when we put God first, actually it's about the purpose, our purpose in life. Purpose, why were we created? The main thing is, why were we created? The purpose for us being here on earth. Going to work with others? Are we going to work ourselves? Are we going to lead people to the right direction? Are we going to direct people the wrong way? Or what are we learning about? So vision is very important when you as a leader. And then another thing is about trust. Those are some of the 3 things that we need to put key in whatever we, and to have a knowledge of what I'm doing. Is what I'm doing or will it help me or somebody else? Thank you, Bwana Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Benson, for the introduction and also your experience on issues pertaining Global Leadership Network Masterclass. So those who are joining us, we want to start with a brief introduction, then we'll proceed with the discussion. Milka, are you in a position to be able to speak from where you are?
Yes, I am.
Okay, karibu.
Good evening, leaders. I hope you are well.
Yeah, good evening.
Miss Milka. My name is Milka Mundumia, cohort 10. I am glad to be here in this workshop, and I feel that I'm becoming better leader of my skills and knowledge. And as a leader, what has transformed me aspect of servanthood, being of service to others, bringing a solution. So when I find there's a problem at work, I look at the solution. What can we do about it? Not trying to get an excuse or maybe blame, but just bringing leadership and solutions in every aspect. Very transformative, and I know that if then we are going to change even all the people around us. Yeah, because again, what we are getting, we should also give to others so that they can also be partakers of this knowledge. Much grateful for even this session again. It will be impacted as a leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Milka. Robert Wamalwa. Karibu, and introduce yourself too, Mr. Robert.
Yes, good evening to everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, this evening, I'm really blessed to be among the leaders. And actually, I can say this transformational leadership, it has really played a very great role, especially in my life and in my area of influence. It has enabled me to search for new opportunities. It has helped me to create a common vision. It has helped me to be motivated and even guide other people. It's an area whereby you look at how things are, and then when you are in the midst of people, they are looking for who will be their role model, and you have to come out and show the way. As a leader, you always stand out, and that's what I've been doing. And it has really been very smooth. It has given me a very smooth running, and I really appreciate for this opportunity. And I know as we proceed, there is a very great impact that is going to come along. Thank you very much, Chairman. You've really showed the right way, and you are doing a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wamalwa, and thank you for sharing your personal experience. We are grateful. David Mugambi, karibu. Okay, if you're in a place probably you are not able to speak, you can also feel free to share your experience on the chat. Florence, good evening, Florence.
Am I edible? I was talking when I was muted. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Now we can hear you well.
Okay. Yes, mine is to begin by saying I'm very grateful for this forum. And I want, first of all, to say the previous course that we did has been so impactful to me individually and to my work in the office. They have recognized that it is true. There is some value that has been handed. Last year, to our lives. I'm looking forward to be more impacted as a leader, and also to continue expounding the knowledge on leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mugambi. Let me move on to Florence. Florence, are you in a position to unmute and introduce yourself?
Yes.
Okay, karibu.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Florence, cohort 14, and I'm glad that I am here. It has taken me a long time since I attended another class, since I finished my cohort 14, and I thank God that this program has come back and I'm here now. Something that has impacted me in this training that we have gone through is more of self-awareness. This has really impacted my life because I'm I'm now able to know, to understand my weakness, to understand my threats, and I'm able to ask for help and advice in many areas. And it has also given me a lot of confidence, even in the areas where I'm dealing with people. Many people, actually, even those who are older than me or those who are learned, those I can feel they are very far from me. I'm able to deal with everyone because it has taught me how to be confident even before people. So I can say thank you to the chairman because he brought this topic even when we really needed it. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Florence. Finally, let me also invite Mr. Peter Githiomi.
Hi, leaders.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening to you. Thank you, Joseph. I attended cohort 9, and I'm one of you in Deliverance Church Umoja. I think since this, I attended the cohort 9, and we have been moving this journey together with this program and the team. I would say that it has been impactful. First of all, I think the program came in when I was also already in the leadership, and what the program has really helped to do is to show me or to reveal the gaps in the leadership. So most of that message has been speaking to me, more so like the faces, the faces of leadership, the way you are trained, you equip yourself with character, then you do the leading itself. Then after some time, you need to multiply yourself and give, you pour out what you have accumulated, the wisdom, to others, so that whatever you have been reading or whatever you have built will not die with you. So I think that is an area that personally I've seen some gaps, and sometimes I realize when some things like these programs come about, they're actually supposed to help you become better. Don't say that because most of the time we say, I wish I had this message like 10 years ago or when I finished university. But I think it is the right time. This program has come. And one thing also that has been very clear to me is that great leaders must be ready to look like lone rangers, like the way the message you are bringing up looks like you are alone, you are like, in quotes, like a madman. You are seeing something others are not seeing. So at one time, I believe most of the leaders, they have come up with something that others were thinking, this guy, we don't know what he is seeing. So yeah, and I think that is the life of everybody, who has ever listened to become a great leader, whether it's in the Bible, the Nehemiahs, the Moses, you are telling people something that they are not even ready, but you really keep on insisting and being consistent. People like Mother Teresa in our days, Wangari Maathai, Mandela, we as leaders, we have to be ready to come up, to be like a bearer of a unique message that is not common. Because if you tell them what they already know, then you are not taking them somewhere. So your message must be different from what they have had, and it must bring an impact that it's like an eye opener to them. That they'll be saying, "Is it possible what you are saying?" They will actually, it will be itching to them. That's what I've realized with the leadership, and also it's linked also with the godliness, because you have to have that inner energy, that dominion coming from inside you. And that dominion can only come when you have that close relationship with God. So I'm seeing that leadership, the dominion that God has given us with the leadership. For you to get that courage, the vertical relationship has to be strong. Yeah, for you to lead others. And then finally, also, as I'm like this evening when I was going around jogging, I realized that most of the guys who are looking for leadership, even where we are, they are putting a lot of things. This is what I will do. Nitaweka stima, nitafanya. And when I weigh that with the model of John Maxwell, you'll actually see most of the things that we are seeing, what I will do to you, is among the lowest levels of leadership. And a good leader is one whom you pick because of the respect. That's what I think we learned the other day, that these guys' principles. So I'm seeing we have a challenge of leadership even in this country. When people have to go through the country, every part of this country, and they have to say what I will do to you, what I will give money, then I think we are riding on the lowest level of leadership. If you remember that model, I think what I've learned is that there's somebody who can stand even for an election, and because we know what he stands for, without even saying anything, we'll vote him in because we know what he will do out of what he has stood for in the past. So I think there is a lot, and we keep on learning. Thank you, Joseph, for this program and your team. You have done very well. It has been impactful. Asante.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yomi. Let me also invite Pastor Isabella.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I just want to thank the Lord this evening, even for coming back, for this arrangement of coming back. I thought our chairman had already forgotten. I attended cohort 8, and it was very impactful. And when I saw this another training, I just purposed to join. The first one was it was an eye opener, and it was really, it changed me from what I knew and how I was doing things. And it has been very, very helpful in my day-to-day activities, and especially dealing with people. And I'm just excited that even this one about the impactful or the impact reader, I'm ready to learn and even to be able to go out and impact other leaders, other people, even to become leaders. So thank you very much, Chairman, and all the people who have organized for this. May the Lord bless you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Isabella. I think we'll carry on with the conversation as we continue. So I just want us to straight away get into the discussion of the day. I trust you have your manual by now. We tried to distribute the manuals yesterday and today, because in this masterclass, you will require to fill some blank spaces in the manual. So it's good you have your manual with you. Have a pen ready. Then as we flow through, you will be able to fill the blank spaces. So do you have your manual? Maybe I can see by indication how many of you already have your manuals.
I have.
Okay.
I also have.
Okay, thank you.
I have mine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Florence.
Myself, I will follow.
Okay.
The manual was deposited somewhere else in Umoja, but I was in a different direction. I was somewhere else.
Okay.
But I will be able to follow and write as much as possible.
Sawa. Okay, so let's I think those who have the manual will be working together, guiding you where we are, so that we can fill. So please just have the manual and have your pen ready. You have seen us going out to equip leaders for one day. This is the package we're using. So it's good that you also interact with it, so that as you also probably plan to equip the leaders where you are, you will be knowing what is in the menu. So secondly, this will have 2 sessions because already we have gone through the higher version. So the speed might be a little bit higher than the speed for the newcomers. So for those who have already gone through the masterclass, we'll take 2 days, a little bit of a higher speed, because already there is some interaction with the content. Secondly, please note that we'll now also have some interaction in between, some exercise. We'll see how to handle that. And I'll also be explaining what happens if it's a physical class. So from today, I think we also transforming or transitioning ourselves to the impact leader, to the point or where we can confidently call ourselves the impact leader. I think the conversation has been, there is always room for improvement. Maybe if you're already there, there's another space that we can be able to climb, or another ladder that we can make one more step and see how to build our capacity as leaders. So this is the impact leader, and this is a package for transformers. That's why we're calling Transformers Leadership Compact. The key word here will be impact throughout the discussion as we follow through. So, and I want to start with this question. What are the indicators of successful leadership? How do we gauge that someone is successful as a leader? I know there are so many parameters we can use. Just to set the context of our discussion, we can take a few, maybe on the chat, just a sample of 3 or so, the indicators of successful leadership, based probably even from your own personal experience or from the people that you are observing, from the leaders within our spaces and the leaders that have been there, maybe they're no longer with us. What will be some of the indicators of successful leadership? Yeah, so let's sample a few, just sample a few, we see.
I would say
Mm-hmm.
A successful leader is one who is self-aware.
Who is self-aware? Thank you.
And then also they have a drive to succeed.
The drive to succeed. Okay. On the chart, I can also see they are results oriented, so there is a result. And then I also see where there is a lasting impact, the lasting impact, and that connects to what we are discussing tonight. This is one of the components of measuring our success as leaders. How successful I am as a leader is based on my level of impact. Am I having low, medium, or high impact? So an impact is a long term, is measured in long term. For example, if you come up with a project, if we want to know how impactful that project is, maybe we can measure 5 years or 10 years after the project has been implemented. The case of infrastructure, sometimes we have infrastructures coming up, and then we see after some years, the place has turned to a city, the place has turned to a market, and it shows that this road, it came with some trickling down effect in terms of probably economic and other contribution. So impact is long term, and is one of the measure of success as a leader. The others, including satisfaction level, how satisfied are you? Do you feel as a leader? Probably demonstrated competency, performance and productivity, behavior change, and also mindset transformation, among the others that you have mentioned. So the outline of the impact leader, we'll be covering 8 modules. So today we're going to cover 4. That's why I said we tighten our belt, because this will be a journey that we will be maybe at a higher speed. So I'll do an overview, then we'll be able to move on to module 1, and the rest will follow. Just the overview is just to be able to refocus our attention to why Generational Leadership Network exists. For now, we are working as a consulting organization, but our main goal is to run as an NGO, because we are a non-profit organization. But we realize the quickest way to register is first to register as a consulting agency, just to be sure that we are existing in the government's record. And the mission is to equip leaders, transform them so that they can maximally utilize their potential. This is in line with what Miles Monroe said, that we should all aim to die empty. So how our focus is, how do we help leaders to fully tap into their potential? And that's what drives us. That's why the issue of self-awareness is very, very important. Our maxim, I think this one is, we all remember, think global, lead local, and transform the world. Our vision, to have a generational thinker, purpose-centered and vision-driven leader in every home, organization, and country. I think it's good just to always continue remembering this vision. So every time we equip a leader, we are equipping a generational leader, a leader who will think in terms of generational, a leader who is purpose-centered, and a leader who is visionary. Our core values, it's good to also remind ourselves, authenticity is very important. So even in our discussions, in our trainings, we try to make sure there is that sense of realness in our discussions. Courtesy, we deal with leaders, and therefore the level of respect and appreciation is very important to be able to deal with the leaders in a dignified way. Excellence in terms of communication and presentation. Competency in terms of mastery of the subject, how prepared and how we practice before probably even delivering. And I'm just mentioning this because this is what guides us when we are facilitating any class. These are some of the issues that we ensure they are there. Efficiency in terms of prudent management of resources. One of the key resources being time, with objectivity and focus. Then effectiveness. Do we meet the expectations of the people that we are engaging with? and also the expectation of GLN. That's why we always try to align ourselves with the expectation of the teams that we are dealing with. Resilience, just to make sure that we withstand adversity, the challenges that we encounter, and we're able to bounce back from challenging circumstances. So this is the level 1. This actually is now the foundational level before someone proceeds to Global Leadership Network Masterclass, which is the intermediate level. And soon we'll be moving on to advanced level, which is strategic leader. In terms of applicability, remember, I think this one we also mentioned that our programs are 360 in terms of application at a personal level, at the inner circle level, maybe close, the people that offering leadership to the people that are close to you, including the family, team or leadership, and also organizational leadership, as well as public leadership, which comes now to issues of the community leadership, including the church leadership. So even the discussion about the impact leader also will be applicable in all these domains. I think these ones, I may not go through this. You can look at them in the manual. That is on page 5, just to be able to explain those dimensions that we've talked about. Now, the introduction part of this masterclass, we are still applying the LACT study method. What are you learning? Pick what you are learning, identify what you will apply, identify the areas you need to change, and also identify something that you feel you can be able to train your team. Why is this impact very important? Basically, the objective of this masterclass is to equip leaders, 1, for personal, then for societal transformation. And the impact leader creates an environment of self-discovery, growth, and manifestation. We call them the 3 Ds. The first D, you create an environment where people are able to discover themselves, people are able to develop themselves, and also people are able to deploy themselves. And that basically means they are able to utilize the potential, the capacity that is in them, so that they live an impactful life. And we say that the impact leader are firm believers that if people believe in themselves and tap into their God-given potential and passion, they can be highly impactful. So the impact leader masterclass will also take us through the same journey that we have walked through, but in a different approach. The impact leader, why do we focus so much on this issue of the impact leader? Because we want to look beyond what we can accomplish as individual to what we can aspire or inspire others to be able to accomplish together. And you can see the statement there that successful leaders influence those around them in order to reap maximum benefit from the organization resources, including its most vital resource, which is people. So the focus again is still on the people, or the mark that we're able to imprint in people, the difference that we're able to make in the lives of the people that we are leading. Leaders, you can remember this, JFK and the janitor, this story. We repeated this story quite a number of times. When JFK visited NASA headquarters and met this cleaner and asked him, "What are you doing at NASA?" And the cleaner said, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." I think this is one of the most loudest message that we have always re-echoed in our discussion. And it's also a good beginning point as we start also to discuss this issue of the impact leader. So if you look at page number 8, this is where we have JFK and the janitor. And there is number 1 there, which is blank space. So what you're supposed to fill there is the answer that the janitor gave. I'm helping put a man on the moon. So if you're facilitating this session to some people, then we have to pause to allow them to write that answer. But again, the answers are also in the manual. You can see the answers on page number 10. So if you are filling together, we can fill that on page number 8 as we continue. So leadership is a lifestyle. Number 2, leadership is a lifestyle. The answers are also on the slide. You can see the slide there at the bottom. The answers are there. So number 2, we are saying leadership is a lifestyle, is also a lifelong journey. It's a journey that extends when we are active and when we are inactive and when we are even absent. I think I've seen leaders consulting retired ministers, retired presidents until the very, very last minute of their time here on earth. Why? Because they still have something to offer. That's why we are saying it's a lifestyle and it's also a lifelong journey. Number 4, we are saying leader cannot lead without knowledge and a drive. Someone talked about drive, the drive to lead. The drive to lead, the drive to learn, and must be a perpetual learner in order to maintain a position of leadership. So number 4, the answer there is knowledge. A leader cannot lead without knowledge. Remember, in the scripture, the book of Ecclesiastes, where we are talking about when the axe is dull, then we require more strength. More strength is needed. But where there is knowledge, where there is skill, then we're able to attain success in a more effortless way. So knowledge brings success, and also knowledge prepares us so that we are able to deliver more results and impact. The principles and practices of leadership can be learned throughout the leadership journey, but it requires a core sensibility about the importance of leadership. So number 6, the blank space there is authentic. Authentic leadership springs from a deep commitment to make a positive contribution and impact by meeting people's needs. So meeting people's needs is an opportunity. Actually, I was listening to a certain speaker today, and was saying leadership should not be a sacrifice, it should be a privilege. It should be a privilege. So when you're in position of leadership, it's an opportunity to be able to meet people's needs, make an impact, and also creating a sense of belonging and meaning, helping people to belong and see that they're important, initiating meaningful works, and also creating an environment of self-discovery. Number 7 there is self-discovery, sorry for that. Self-discovery. Then number 8 is growth, and number 10 is manifestation. So authentic leadership springs from a deep commitment to make a positive contribution and impact by meeting people's needs, creating a sense of belonging and meaning, initiating meaningful works, and creating an environment of self-discovery, growth, and manifestation. You can still connect that to the 3 Ds that I mentioned. So in this masterclass, the word impact, we're using it as an acronym. And this is what it stands for. I stands for influential initiator, someone who takes action to initiate or to meet a situation or to address a certain gap. And through that, you become influential. So influential initiator. M is momentum builder. P is passionate, proactive, positive servant. A is action oriented. Then C is consistent, catalyst. And then T is transformer. So today, as we talk about the impact leader, this is what we are talking about as impact leader. We are saying we are initiators. So wherever we are, if there is a space that needs to be taken, or there is a gap that needs to be met, we'll be there to be able to take that initiative. We're also saying we are momentum builder. We're able to see the energies of our team, see when they are going down, and think on how do we create a trigger. If you recall, there's an illustration I normally use during the introduction in terms of how people, sometimes they reach what we call the success plateau. So from the beginning, there is a growth curve, and then it reaches a certain level, then it flattens. And that is the success plateau. So as a leader, I'm able to read when we are at a success plateau, and I need to think, what do we need to do to create another wave that will take us up again instead of going down? And some of those initiatives includes probably a training, includes an activity, includes a team building, whatever you feel is able to again improve the momentum. We're also saying we are passionate. We're not just leading, but we are leading with passion, also being proactive and being positive. We are saying we are also action-oriented, and this has come out very well in the introduction. And then we are catalyst. Wherever we are consistent catalyst. Every team has a catalyst. If you think about basketball, you'll always think about Michael Jordan as the catalyst. Think about various games, and there is always that one person. When that person gets the ball, then you are assured we'll score. So we are the catalyst, and at the end of the day, it's all about transforming our environment. So that's what the acronym stands for. And that's the introduction. So I'll pause after module 1, so just allow us to move on. Then after module 1, I'll pause for your reflection before we move on to module 2. So module 1, we are on page 11. And here we are defining leadership. We're defining leadership to ensure that we are all speaking from the same understanding of leadership. So let's flow again together. So we're saying a leader is an individual that is knowledgeable, probably in a certain domain, successful. We say success creates influence. So I need to be successful in a certain domain, and then impactful in a particular domain. So these are some of the qualities or aspects that leads to influence. Knowledge, success, and impact can lead to influence. 2, a leader is someone who can number 5 there, who can visualize a better future and rally people towards that vision. A person who works towards making a vision a reality while prioritizing the needs of people. The key word there again, the needs of the people. And remember, the Bible talks about when the blind leads the blind, they will all fall into a ditch. And therefore, the key question that every leader needs first to answer is if I can see. And I think this is a discussion where if I'm following someone, I need to be clear. What can that person see? And what is he seeing or is she seeing? And what is the strategy towards moving towards that direction? And that is the aspect of visualizing the future, visualizing probably the better future that we're talking about, and the vision that the leader is leading the leader as he leads the people. So the ability to positively influence people is very essential when we are talking about leadership, that ability to influence people in various ways. We've given some example there, knowledge, success, among others, qualities or abilities that that a leader can use to influence people. So positive influence results from positive impact. It's not focused on controlling or manipulating people to get your way. It's about noticing what motivates people and using that knowledge to be able to leverage performance and positive results. So leaders, I think as we focus on this, sometimes I think if we really focus in terms of creating positive impact, that in itself is a strategy. There are times we go for other strategies, there are times we go for branding, which is not bad. But again, I think that need to focus on how do I make an impact? How do I serve better? There are leaders that emerged and they became global leaders. And I think they didn't really try to maneuver their way through. They just focused on delivering what they were supposed to deliver. And at the end of the day, they were able to conquer the world. So a leader's ability to influence is based on number 9, trust. Trust is key. And also goodwill. Trust actually will attract goodwill. Yeah, and influence grows in proportion to trust and goodwill that exist in a relationship. Just think about if if people trust a leader, then the people submit their influence to the leader. Actually, they submit themselves to the leader. They allow the leader to lead them. So an influential leader will always move people into action by articulating the vision in an inspirational manner. How we declare the vision determines the buy-in. Are we going to get the buy-in? Is the vision inscribed in us? Are we passionate? Have we embodied the vision to a level that when we are talking, we're not just talking by words, but we're also talking by the actions that we are displaying. So the impact leader leads through positive influence, trust, and goodwill, as we have highlighted. So defining leadership, leaders, we looked at quite a number of definitions about leadership, but just think about those people will be going through this masterclass for the first time. This is very important. A few definitions about leadership and some of the keywords that we can note from these key definitions. One is leadership is a function of knowing yourself, having a vision that is well communicated, building trust among colleagues, and taking effective action to realize your leadership potential. So what are the keywords? Awareness. And Florence talked about awareness. This is the beginning of growth. It's the beginning of leadership. If someone gets into leadership before developing self-awareness, then they become insecure in their leadership because they really don't know themselves. They really don't understand what they stand for. And therefore, they will try to probably align themselves to other people's styles of leadership or other people's probably, let me say, inclination. They might lose themselves in terms of that awareness. Then visioning comes out handy. From the awareness, we are able to come up with a vision and purpose, and then communicate, form a team, and move into action. There's another definition here by Stan Kima. Effective leadership is providing the vision. Again, you can see the word vision and motivation. So here we are also talking about motivation. Do we provide that motivation to the teams that we are leading? To a team, so they work together towards the same goal. And then understanding the talents and temperaments of each individual and effectively motivating each person to contribute individually their best towards achieving the group goal. So this is the other definition that also points out some key aspects, including the vision, motivation, team is also repeated here, and then focusing on shared goals and awareness. The definition by Miles Monroe, leadership is a capacity to influence. So we bring on board the word influence, very common when you're talking about leadership. And how do we influence? We influence others through, one, inspiration, two, motivation or passion. So inspiration motivated by passion, generated by a vision, and produced by conviction, ignited by purpose. So you can pick again the keywords there, talking about influence. And this influence is through the inspiration, probably in terms of my success as a leader, my impact as a leader, my motivation, my passion as a leader. That triggers the inspiration, the vision, and the conviction. Conviction. Every time I talk about conviction, I always remember Nelson Mandela, that you can sacrifice and stand for what you believe at whatever cost. Again, this is also connected to purpose. So that just to paint the picture and see, also help us appreciate some keywords in terms of leadership. So part B of the module 1, we just focus on what Bernice Warren articulated in terms of what followers look up to a leader. And he says that followers, every follower, they look up to a leader or to the leaders for certain qualities or certain aspects. One of them is direction. So people are looking to me as a leader for direction. That's now when we bring the aspect of vision. They're also looking at me in terms of structure. Where do I belong and what do I do? What is expected of me? Again, trust. People look to leaders for trust, and finally, hope. So leadership, therefore, is significant in providing these four key aspects: direction, structure, trust, and also igniting homes. So I'll just briefly go through each of them. So leadership is significant in providing, one, direction, as we have noted. So you can note that. Two, creating structure, building trust as number three, igniting hope as number four, and attracting goodwill. Yeah, so we are on which page? We are on page. We are on page 14. Page 14. Yeah, so those are the four main issues or main qualities that main aspects that leaders or followers look up to a leader. Let's start with number one, direction. So a leader's most important role is to provide clear and compelling direction by articulating the vision, the purpose, the strategy, and the values. So that's number 1 to number 9. As a leader, these are the core the core issues when we are talking about providing direction. So a leader's most important role is to provide the clarity, compelling direction by articulating the vision, purpose, strategy, and values. So to secure and ensure continuity and stability of the organization, the impact leader intentionally establishes a mentorship and succession plan by identifying, developing, and nurturing future leaders. So direction, providing direction. And the direction needs to be clear and also compelling. This is what also brings buy-in. When people see these aspects being very clear, then they're able to buy in to the vision of the leader. Two is structure. Structure. So according to Bennis, leaders are accountable for creating the structure and also the processes that enables the team to achieve high impact. So they set in place policies, they also set some processes, values, and also long-term plans to meet the mission of the organization. Structures are very important, especially when it comes to reporting, it comes to responsibility. When this is done clearly, then people are able to work in a cohesive environment. So they focus on supporting team members to effectively and efficiently perform their roles. Dupree, an American business and writer, says that a leader's role is to polish, liberate, and enable the gifts that people bring to the organization. Yeah. So structure is one of the channels that also is able to create an environment of the 3 Ds that we have talked about. So the impact leader makes it clear that their teams know what to do, is number 16. That is within now the structure, how to do it, when to do it, and with whom to do it. And they provide a conducive environment for the team members to attain peak performance. So leaders, I think you can note here the why structures are very critical. Maybe where you are, you can also reflect in terms of the structures that you're having, even as we try to enhance our understanding on this. So the impact leader makes it clear that their team know what to do and how to do it. Sometimes how is not amplified because how can change along the way, and the how is now what we refer to as the strategy. How about trust? So leaders build trust, and we are saying trust is very essential in cultivating ownership. So we cultivate ownership, even ownership of a vision, ownership in an organization by ensuring that there is high level of trust. So by creating a culture of transparency, mutual support, and a win-win environment or win-win relationship. Yeah. So the leader's role is to establish an environment in which team members can thrive by being respectful and also trusting each other as they perform their roles. So trust is critical, and I think probably this can be also one of the issues we can discuss as we pause in between the session. So finally, according to Warren Bennis, the fourth quality that leaders, followers look up to leaders is hope. Is the leader able to provide an environment of hope? Remember, we have come from the season of hopelessness, and what really kept people on the move is those few leaders that directed our focus, those leaders that were able to help us see the light at the end of the tunnel. And Napoleon Bonnet said, a leader is a dealer in hope. Our main dealing as leaders, one of the main dealing is hope, dealers of hope. So impactful leaders are optimistic and hopeful. So they paint a picture of the organization's future and infuse their followers with hope by providing motivation, encouragement, sharing success, and also progress towards achieving organization goals. And they also help followers to create their own future as they work for the organization. So hope is very, very important. This is what keeps people hopeful. And when we provide an environment of hope, an environment of positivity, we open up people to be able to think and also offer solution. But when we create an environment of hopelessness, then we choke down the thinking capacity of the people. And even with solution around them, they're not able to figure out. They're not able to think through and offer some level of solution. So in conclusion, for level one, this is what we are saying, leaders, that the impact leader, who we are, we understand that when we provide clear direction aligned to values and principles, create and share comprehensive strategy for the organization future, then and build the organization structure and processes to ensure successful execution, then the organization prospects on achieving peak results and high impact are realized. When these are done, achieving high impact becomes a guarantee. So when leaders provide an environment where people can belong, contribute, and do meaningful work and grow, then they can trust their teams to achieve peak results and high impact. Remember the 3 Ds: provide an environment of discovery, development, and deployment. So leaders, that's introduction, overview, introduction, and module 1. This is normally a little bit longer because now we are handling like 3 issues in one, but now 2, 3, and 4 are not very long, so we can still manage to work within the time space that we have tonight. But let me just pause for 5 minutes to allow us to share our reflection in terms of what we have covered so far from the overview, the introduction, and module 1. I don't know what is your take, what is your reflection. For the interest of time, we can do it as quickly as we can, and we can take maybe just 3 reactions, then I'll be able to move on. So whoever is ready, just unmute and share your reflection, or those who can share on the chat, also feel free to share on the chat as we prepare to move on to module 2. So any reflections so far? I know most of the content might not be very new, but there's always something new that we can capture.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brother Kiari. On the reflection about a vision of an impact leader, something that really amazes me is that picture on the vision, holding the hand of someone. And then you are trying to show him the direction, what you can see. If we can also be able to see And that is what we have to be working with our heads high. And actually, I've been trying to put this one into practice. Wherever I am, I've been reflecting on this. It's very, very much important. And as leaders, if we can adopt this, because that one gives the clear picture of the vision that we have, what we are seeing in the future, and where we want to be. And if when we will not be there, those ones we are holding their hands, they will be able to proceed. Thank you.
So the vision, remember, even as a country, we aligned our resources, we aligned ourselves the moment we were able to clearly come up with a vision as a country. And that became the center of focus in terms of the resources, in terms of the human power, in terms of measurement of our success. So we aligned everything based on the vision. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wamalwa. Maybe we can pick one more reflection, then we move on.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Also, okay, there is a lot that you have talked about and reminded us, but I'm just remembering this one thing, the self-discovery, that a leader, it's like you embark on a journey. Okay, of course, you are the first one to discover this, and then you are able now to sell. It's like you are selling a product to others, so that now, but in this case, now it is for them to discover that the change they are looking for is inside them. So it's a journey of self-discovery. That's what I picked for the leaders. And all the time, including all the changes that we can never think, even in our modern times, the potential to change, or the potential to change and to live better lives is always there. But now this leader comes in and triggers people so that now they can discover that that better life we are looking for is there and it is possible. So a leader is that kind of a person, who comes to trigger. And then I think it is connected with the fourth. Followers are actually looking for direction, structure, trust, and hope. So all that is in that. I mean, the discovery. It's not an outside force that will come. No. It's within us. But I think people, we require to be ignited. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Gidiomi. Actually, from our session on Saturday with the Deliverance Church Kino, it triggered a lot of discussion on issues of structure. And I think that was one of the output of our discussion. We felt, or the leaders felt, there's need to have clarity in terms of the structure, because these are some of the best practices. Church is an organization and is not isolated from probably the other organization, as much as there is some variation. But again, having that clarity in terms of the structure becomes very important. I was sharing with them a case of Deliverance Church Umoja on some policies that are already there, maybe Sunday school among others, and they're working, they're helping to know someone clearly. In case of this, what do you do? In case of this, how do you engage? And it creates a system where everybody is actually informed. The organizations that are ISO certified, and when you land in those organizations as a new employee, the first thing you do is to go through the procedure manuals, and that helps you to appreciate what the organization is all about, and also to be in line with the processes of the organization. So structure is important among those other issues that we have talked. So leaders, I think let's just proceed, and please just continue noting. If you can share something on the chat as well, that is good, so that we can exchange at the end of the module. I'm switching off my video so that the slides can come out clear in the recording. We noted Sometimes when we put the video on, it blocks some content. That's why I'm switching it off. Now, the leadership gap. We understand and we have engaged on this, but it's still something that needs more emphasis. Because when we appreciate the gap, there is a gap, then we appreciate the need to work towards bridging that gap. And from the many studies on the leadership, there are pointers, most of them have pointed out that indeed there is a leadership gap within our organizations, our countries, our families across board. The issues that are happening within us, around us, they are pointers that indeed, do we really have leaders who are able to offer good leadership to the people within our environment? The levels of depression, the levels of the levels of suicide, and many other things at workplace and families. You remember when we are talking about problem solving and asking 5 whys, that calls for patience, and it's only a leader that is focused on human beings is able to get to that level, trying to understand the people. So the reason why, again, we are focusing on this is to trigger more leaders within our environment, those who are able to transition from management to leadership. Again, we encourage them to do that so that we also have a higher number of people who are not just results oriented, the bottom line, but they are also key, they are focusing in terms of the welfare of the people. So what leadership gaps exist in our environment? There are quite a number, and we'll just look at a few. But the leadership gap, what is it? According to Center for Creative Leadership, is the leadership gap is how aligned current leadership is to the future or emerging leadership needs. There are leadership needs emerging. There are leadership needs within our leadership areas now and even in the future. So are we able to meet those needs? So that variation is what creates the leadership gap. So a leadership gap can be caused by either lack of mastery of the required current and future competencies, or it can also be a lack of focus on some skills, some values, and some attitudes. You can remember the iceberg leadership development model. You're talking about 10 to 20% being skills, knowledge, and experience, 80 to 90% being the attitude, the mindset, the values, those soft issues that really impacts on a leader positively or negatively. James Strock, he says that everyone can lead because everyone can serve. So the opportunity to serve presents an opportunity to lead. The opportunity to serve presents an opportunity to lead. And we all have opportunities to be able to serve. And therefore, that means that leadership becomes everyone's business as long as you can serve. However, not every leader is leading. Not every leader is leading. There are leaders in position, but not leading. There are leaders who do not even have position, yet they are leading. Yeah, and I think this is now what creates the gap. More leaders, probably with little leadership. And what contributes to that? We look at it as we continue. So the World Economic Forum, they identified leadership as a crisis. Yeah, is a leadership. They agreed that there existed a leadership crisis. There exists a leadership crisis. They didn't just call it a gap, but it's a crisis because of the impact that it has within the lives of the people and within our organizations. So, and this gap exists across board. We're talking about businesses, we're talking about government, including the non-profits and other institutions. So 86% of the people that were surveyed, they agreed that there is a leadership gap. We are how many here? Here we are 12. And if we are to respond to the same question, within where we are, within our areas of service, our area of duty, do we have a leadership gap? And probably all of us will be able to point out on a few issues that we feel presents some leadership gap. And therefore, the leadership spaces are increasingly becoming what we are calling VUCA. Remember VUCA? And this is one of the trigger why we need to continuously grow as leaders, to be able to match to the changing or shifting environments, so that we adapt to the shifting environment. So they are becoming volatile, they are becoming uncertain, they are becoming complex and ambiguous. Volatile, it means the change is happening so rapidly. Yeah, it's happening so rapidly, and it demands that we also act quicker. Yeah, uncertain, we cannot predict. The environment requires we take action without certainty. Yes, this is the solution I'm offering, but I'm not sure to what level it will meet the need, but I still need to take an action. It's complex. The environment is dynamic with many interdependencies. We cannot again, probably even comprehend the whole scenario, but we need to make an action. Ambiguous, the environment is unfamiliar, outside of our experience. And I don't know, leaders, maybe as you look within your leadership areas, some of us are in education. We are dealing with children and things are really changing. It has become a tall order to lead in schools or to serve in schools, because our children are evolving. The issues that are happening around us are really dynamic, and it means that even as a teacher, I need to be very quick, be very observant, be able to take those actions sometimes without certainty. And not just within the schools, but across board, we're able to witness what we are talking about tonight. So we look at the following 9 leadership competences that were identified as missing for current and future leadership. Some of the missing competences, and this is now the gap that we're talking about. Leaders who are able to lead change or change management. Leaders who are able to inspire commitment towards a shared vision. Leaders who can conceive a vision and share it passionately, and little people are able to buy and run with that vision. How many do we have around us? Leaders who are able to lead employees and also offer an environment for employees to grow. Leaders who are able to take initiative, who are proactive, collaboration and networking. Leaders who are collaborative and also provide a space for networking. Strategic perspective or critical thinkers. Strategic planning. Leaders who are able to lead into strategic planning in terms of long-term view and how to move towards that direction. Participative management, as well as adaptive learning. Leaders who are able to learn on the course, learn on the way. So these are some of the competencies that were identified by Center for Creative Leadership. But American Productivity and Quality Center also surveyed, and they came up with other 5 deficiencies that creates a gap in the leadership gap. One is strategic planning. Again, that is a repeat from the previous study. Change management, also repeated. Leaders who are able to share knowledge, communication, knowledge sharing. Leaders who are good in listening, and leaders who are good in emotional intelligence. So these are some of the aspects that were identified. I don't know, maybe if we use this as a mirror just to look at ourselves, maybe we can also to see where are we in terms of the qualities that we are talking about today. Are we able to offer some of these qualities? Are they reflected in our leadership? So the leadership deficit, it's cross-cutting. It's cross-cutting. You can see only 21% of the people who were interviewed said their organization's leadership practices are very effective. A good number of people reported that the organizations are not effective when it comes to leadership. This is the same study by the American study. So 46% reported that the organization places little or no priority in leadership development. That becomes a challenge. So what are the causes? One, underfunded. Leadership is underfunded. Probably is also not prioritized in terms of development, outdated, and also resistant. What is the solution? Developing leadership capability in all employees, insisting deliberately, intentionally creating an environment where employees are able to grow or undergo some programs that will help them become better leaders. And more importantly, also having leaders who are able to offer better leadership. So to bridge the leadership gap, organizations should develop leadership capability in all employees by intentionally, constantly, and creatively investing in leadership development programs that equip leaders to effectively lead in current and future environments. And if we do this, as we are doing tonight, I'm sure even tonight there is something that we can pick, that we can run with, and be able to upgrade or improve our leadership based on the discussions that we are having tonight. So that's module 2. I don't know if there is any reaction on module 2, leaders.
Yes, good evening. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Omalu, although you are a little bit, the volume is a little bit low. Okay, we can't hear you. Let's try and see. Maybe you can try and add your volume a little bit. Okay, I think there is a challenge on Omalu's side. Anybody else as we try to figure out what the issue might be? Okay, maybe if there is none, then we'll just proceed. We'll proceed. As I indicated, the speed is a little bit high, but since we have already interacted with this content, I'm sure we'll be able to confidently, we actually flowing together. I would be very worried if we are dealing with people who have not gone through the higher level of the leadership masterclass. But since we have already gone through the higher level, then I'm sure we are connecting quite well. So let's move on to module 3. We're talking about the disposition of the impact leader. Disposition of the impact leader. What does the word disposition mean? Maybe we can start from there. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Omalu. I see your comment. Yeah, I think that is well noted, just to be able to contextualize everything. So disposition of the impact leader. So what are we talking about? This impact leader. What is the disposition of the impact leader? So let's first look at the word disposition just to define it, and then we look at some of the qualities of the disposition of the impact leader. So disposition means leadership. Leadership dispositions are common traits. We're talking about the common traits of a leader. We are talking about number 2, inherent qualities of a leader. Number 3, we are talking about the values, the commitments, and professional ethics that influences a leader behavior. Number 4, we're talking about disposition of the leader, including issues of authenticity, adaptability, learning, agility, and also charisma. Yeah. So disposition means the qualities. We can just use the qualities or the traits, some of the values, some of the commitments, the ethics, yeah, of the impact leader. So we'll share a number of them. So other dispositions include self-awareness, self-management, some of the traits of this impact leader. is self-driven, is creative, is innovative, is a team player, perpetual learner, effective communicator, and also impact-oriented, among others. So the impact leader leads with the whole personality, And I think this is why this leader is able to make an impact. He leads with the heart, the brain, and the gut. In other words, we are saying the impact leader leads with conviction, with creativity, and with courage. The three C's of the impact leader: conviction, creativity, and courage. And these are some of the traits that we can attribute to why this leader is able to make significant impact. So we look at a number of the dispositions, some of the traits of the impact leader. Number one, we are saying the impact leader is impact driven, leading to make an impact. We remember the third president of this country, Mwai Kibaki, and what he did for this country. It's an impact that has outlasted his life. We are still running with the Vision 2030. We are still running with some of the strategies that he came up with, and we will still remember him for a long time to come. So impact driven, and impact is defined as results that promotes daily progress, a marked effect, influence, or footprint. The footprint of a leader. Yeah. So leaders of impact possesses a positive mental attitude. They are optimistic and also they are hopeful. They are dealers of hope. Yeah. Number two, the second quality is intentional networking. So the impact leader is intentional when it comes to networking because they appreciate what they can do as a team besides what they can achieve as individual. And in today's world, this issue of networking has become a very, very common strategy for any successful organization, including the GLN. GLN, our success is purely anchored on networking. Besides other very important aspects that has helped us to be successful, we still appreciate that aspect of networking as one of the key pillars of our success. So in today's world, intentional networking is actually a necessity, and promoting networking in organization, it also eliminates some of the challenges that we encounter, like working in silos, breakouts in communication, among others, even in terms of resource utilization. So networking, intentional networking, is another quality of the impact leader. And we are saying that networking can lead to opportunities like it has done for GLN, can lead to knowledge. So there are many times I sit down with some of you, and the knowledge that we're able to tap from you is really quite a lot. It also leads to innovation, becoming more innovative. Yeah. So networking provides these opportunities, provides knowledge, provides a platform to innovate, and also growth and expansion. And our networking also provides a support system for the leader. Sylvia Morea, who was the president of Coty Professional Beauty, he describes 3 types of networks that every leader or every person needs to have. These 3 types of network. One is the operational network. Yeah, the people that help you undertake your work efficiently or effectively. Think in terms of a work environment. There are those people who support you to be able to deliver in your work. That's operational network. Then there is a personal network. Yeah, those who help you grow and provide personal emotional support when you need it. This is a personal network. Close friends, and maybe sometimes close family members. Then we have strategic network, those who help you project into the future and prepare for it in advance. So leaders, these are 3 important networks, and maybe one of the take home is just to look and evaluate your network and see, are you covering these 3? Are these 3 areas covered? Do you have an operational network and people who fit into that? Do you have a personal network and people who fit into that? And also in terms of strategic network. So intentional networking is another disposition of the impact leader. Yeah, third is a transformer. The disposition of the impact leader is a transformer. So the impact leader possesses an attitude of transformer or a transformer, a shaper of destiny. The impact leader also leads beyond position, title, or personal benefit. They demonstrate transformational leadership that inspires followers. Yeah. So a transformer is defined as a person who takes responsibility for results and creates new value out of existing resources. So the impact leader, in his thinking or in her thinking, the focus is in terms of creating significant change that leads to permanent transformation. So thinking in terms of transformation. So as a transformer, the impact leader takes responsibility for number 24, results, and creates new value out of existing resources. Yeah. So the impact leader, we are saying, is a transformer and demonstrate an attitude of resilience, continuous learning, and creativity. Fourth, the fourth disposition of the impact leader is conviction. Conviction. So conviction is a firm belief and determination in initiating and driving positive change. So leaders with conviction lead wholeheartedly, with positivity, with passion and confidence. We took some time, and we always take some time just to look at this second sentence. And we try to reflect this in terms of our leadership, in various areas that we are leading. Are we leading wholeheartedly? Are we leading with positivity? Are we leading with passion and confidence? And is the same replicated in the people that we are leading? And for this to happen, it means that there has to be something that has triggered that full engagement by the leader and also by the people that we are leading. One of them is clarity in terms of the vision and ownership of the vision. That's why we say that as we sell what we are doing, we also need to sell more into why we are doing it, because that is what triggers what we are talking about, leading wholeheartedly, with positivity, with the passion, and with the confidence. So the impact leader stand for their values, yeah, for their beliefs, for their values. They are change-oriented and they are people-centered. They are people-centered. They have a conviction that if they transform people, that is what gives them fulfillment in terms of their leadership. Then the fifth conviction, the disposition of the impact leader is creativity. They lead through they are creative. Yeah, leaders. As leaders, we need to adapt and embrace creativity to navigate through what we are calling the VUCA world, the environment that we are leading in. So leading in these environments require that we are able to combine solution, combine the various ideas, combine the various thinking, and be able to eventually come up with a solution or come up with a way that did not really exist in one person's mind. It was a combination of different thinking that was able to offer a solution. So creativity is key. Number 6 is courage. Courage. The impact leader, the 6th disposition, is that quality of being courageous. So courageous leaders demonstrate bravery. They lead by example. They impress and promote creativity. They give everyone in their team confidence to operate at the best of their ability. Their courage is anchored on faith and optimism. Courage. Think of the leaders that we talk about today, Martin Luther King Jr. standing up to a level that you are ready to sacrifice your life. Think of Wangari Maathai, the courage that they demonstrated, and many other leaders that we may not even read about. Yet they stood for their courage, they stood for their conviction, and they were able to make a significant impact in their times of in their leadership tenure. So courageous leaders demonstrate, as I've already indicated, bravery, and they also lead by example among the other qualities that I've already pointed out. Number 36, we are saying they are good listeners and also they are learners. They make timely informed decisions. So they're able to figure out. I remember the example of Jesus in various cases. There are cases that he had to trigger the highest level of courage because issues were going out of hand and he had to take charge. Remember him in the temple, going there and turning the tables down and just taking charge to make sure that the situation is restored to normal. So courage is a key component. There are examples there of courageous leaders, and I think this one you can look at them in the manual, Nelson Mandela among the others. Then finally, disposition, the last disposition of the impact leader is, this leader is focused in consistent self-improvement. This is in line with Kaizen management principle. The impact leader focuses on consistent self-improvement. Number 38, they focus on continuous growth, continuous learning, continuous improvement. That is the Kaizen management principle, the thinking behind this, that we need to focus not on the best, but on becoming better. Because in many times I have shared the example of the mobile phone companies, the manufacturing companies. They're always thinking about the next phone. Even when we are thinking we have the best, for them, they're always thinking about the next phone. So the impact leader, number 39A, as we move through the rest, improves everything continually. That means this is a leader that treads best for better, abolishes all traditional concepts or strategies, is a leader that evolves and adapts, accepts no excuses and makes things happen. Yeah, accepts no excuses and makes things happen. That is C, trades results for excuses. This leader also says no to the status quo of implementing new methods and assuming they will work. That means they ensure stability, but also growth. C, they correct what is wrong. If something is wrong, they take the initiative to correct it. And that means they take responsibility. Then F, empowers everyone to take part in problem solving. Basically, that means they value teamwork. G, gets information and opinion from multiple sources. That means they are receptive to feedback. And then H, they ask why questions 5 times to get to the root cause before making decision. Why, they use the why approach in decision making and problem solving. Then I, the impact leader, saves money through small improvements to spend the saved money on further improvements. Or basically we are saying they are economical, and that means they are prudent and efficient in resource utilization. And then finally, this leaders remembers that improvement has no limits. They never stop trying to improve. And that means they embrace continual improvement. And those are the dispositions of the impact leader. Yeah, the disposition of the impact leader. The 7 of them, the 7 disposition of the impact leader. And maybe on the chat, let's see the one that probably you connect with the most. Maybe which one do you feel has connected with you, or you seem to identify with, either you're practicing or the one that you feel you need to focus on more keenly. Let's just share on the chat from the seven dispositions of the impact leader. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gideon. You are saying courage. Courage. So Mr. Gideon is focusing on courage. So let's see the other leaders as we embark to finalize. Courage. Let's see the other leaders. Okay. Consistent improvement. That is for Mugambi. Florence, I think it's whatever you are typing, maybe it's still incomplete. Benson, you are saying intentional networking, very important. Eda, you are saying conviction and courage. Conviction and courage. Let's see the rest. Robert, consistent self-improvement and courage.
Intentional networking.
Intentional networking. Thank you so much. Embracing continual improvement. Trading best for better. Consistent self-improvement and transformation or transformer. Good. So, and I think we just trying to create a trigger as we reflect and also think in terms of what do I need to, what action do I need to take from this discussion? What is my key take homes? What are my key reflection? In my reflection moment, what do I need to think about after going through this discussion? So let's conclude by looking at module 4. We are on page number 34. Page number 34. So as we conclude, we look at the impact leader. So we look at the impact vis-a-vis levels of leadership. Impact vis-a-vis level of leadership. There are levels of leadership that have high impact. And therefore, as we point out and as we look at these levels of leadership, we will also be trying to see how they converge. Certain levels of leadership and the level of impact are at that particular level. And I will just look at 5 levels of leadership. And this is not my own. This is by John C. Maxwell, who identifies 5 levels of leadership. He aligned them with specific practices, principles, and values based on his research and also with his experience. This is one man that he has credibility when we are talking about leadership. So he came up with 5 levels of leadership, and basically that is what we're going to look at. And look, I think keenly for us, it will be to be able to look at these levels of leadership with the eyes of impact. So we'll be scanning for impact as we look at this. And let's look through together. So the 5 levels of leadership are as listed. Number 1 is positional leadership. Basically, that is leading by rights. Then we have 2, permission leadership, which means leading by relationship. Then production leadership, leading by results. Then people development leadership, leading by reproduction. And then pinnacle leadership, leading by respect. So let's break all of them at once, one by one. So positional leadership. People at this level are inclined to management than to leadership. Yeah, so they tend to have subordinate, not teammates. If there's a leader, they'll tend to have subordinate, not teammates. They depend more on titles, position, rules, regulation, policies to lead. And people follow such leaders within the stated boundaries of the authority. If the authority of that leader ends here, you can't touch that person outside the authority or the boundaries of that leader, because they feel being in the space of that leader is not a really exciting environment. These are organizations where when it's 4:30, the employees are already starting to warm up on how to get out of the office. By 4:45, they are preparing, they are going to the washrooms, they are making sure they are putting on their shoes. 4:55, they hold their bags and they're just watching at the clock. At 5, they are all running to the lift. At 5:05, you see a line of vehicles getting out of the compound, because they don't feel like we are getting out of the boundary of this leader. And that environment does not really provide a platform of high productivity and a sense of belonging, and also in terms of the impact. That leader has the least impact to the people that he or she is leading. So position leadership, people follow this leader because they have to. They have no choice, but they have to work under this leader, whether they like it or not, because this is the person that has the title. Commission leadership, talking about relationships. People follow this leader because they want to. So we are now transitioning from they have to they want to. Why? Because there is a relationship. We build a relationship. And making the shift from position to commission level, transition a person from management to leadership. Since leadership is one, we are saying is people-centric, and is also based on relationship, that creates a positive influence. If you have positive influence on the people we are leading, then we'll attract those people, and they will be able to submit and follow us willingly. So at this level, the leader achieves slightly higher impact compared to level 1. Then level 3 is production level, production leadership, or production level of leadership. Here we are saying it's about results, and people follow this leader because of what the leader has done for them or for the organization. So production leaders can create a highly productive team or organization because there is a sense of belonging, and also they are impactful. They make a significant impact in the lives of the people that they are leading. So these leaders are results oriented, but again, they also tend to focus in terms of improving the people they are leading. Then people development, level 4. So here we're talking about reproduction. It's about touching the people. It's about helping people become better. So people follow this leader because of what the leader has done for them. According to Maxwell, to transition to higher levels of leadership that creates high impact, leaders must transition from producers or just focusing on results-oriented, being results-oriented, to developers, being people-centric, because people are the most important asset in every organization. So at this level, a leader achieves significantly high impact. Why? Because he's touching the lives of people, he's transforming people, he's developing, and he's also growing people, who leads to high productivity within the organization. Then finally, the pinnacle level. People here are following the leader because they respect the leader. And I think most of the leaders that we mentioned globally, the key figures, they were respected. Maybe they sacrificed their lives for a worthy cause. Maybe they traded off their comforts to be able to sacrifice for the people. And therefore, when we meet such leaders, we have no option but to salute them, to respect them. And people follow this leader because of who they are, the character. The character they reflect. Or their qualities of leadership, their thinking of leadership. So to attain this level of leadership, a leader requires a blend of competency, also character, which I've mentioned, which is very important. So leaders who are sent to level 5, they create a legacy of impact. Legacy is actually now clearly visible at level 5, at the pinnacle level, yeah, at level 4. So servant leaders and transformational leaders are among those leaders who transition to level 5. Why? Because servant leaders, they prioritize the needs of other people above their own, while transformational leaders, they seek to make permanent change, significant permanent change to the individual or to the organization. So that thinking, that drive of it's about the people that I'm serving, transitions these people to be respected. That thinking of the transformational leader thinking in terms of what change can I bring within my leadership space, also transition this person to be a respected leader. So the highest level of leadership, which is the pinnacle according to John Maxwell, in our case, this is the level that has the highest level of impact. And I think this is what drives all of us to be able to reach a space where we are able to stand for the character and people are able to respect us because of what we represent, of how we have lived our life. And that creates a sense of respect, and people follow because they want to, they feel this is the right person to be able to connect with. So in conclusion, you're saying that leadership can also be classified in 3 categories. The what leader, who is resource-driven, reactionary, static, low impact, short-term. Again, let's connect back to the other levels of leadership. And then how leader, who is thinking more about process-driven, reformative, adaptive, medium impact, and also medium-term in terms of the thinking or planning. Then the why leader, who is visionary, who is proactive, dynamic, high and sustainable impact, and also who thinks in terms of long term. Yeah, so these are the other categories that we can look at and also try to compare with the level of impact. Obviously, the why leader will always have high impact when they are leading. So with that, we come to the end of tonight's discussion. And I think it's just good to reflect even as we call it a night. I know I've rushed. I think it's true. I can see it's 9:48. So we still have 12 minutes and we are finished on time. So we can maybe just take some few reflection. Also share your observation, because when we'll be going out to equip the first timers, we need to know where to adjust, what to focus on, what to include. Already have noted a comment from Robert, which we'll also incorporate. For the whole one-day session, we are able to have more time and more interaction compared now when we're having a virtual session, as you can see. But that does not mean that we shouldn't just try to make sure we have some examples that we can share with the people that we are equipping. So leaders, I want to pause there. I give the floor to you for any comment from your end. I think we can take a comment, we can take an additional contribution, we can take a question, then we'll close at that. Okay, is there any comment from your end? I think even a thumbs up will also be an indication. If there is a comment also. Did I move very fast? I think that's also something that I may want to note.
I think you moved on well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, you have broken down the one for John C. Maxwell very well. Yeah, and I think, yeah, a great leader is who is being followed because of what he stands for. Already his character, as you said, and you have his emphasized the respect that people already know his heart, where he is. So it's who he is, not even whatever he will promise, but who he is. So I think that was quite impactful.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bambino.
Thank you.
Eunice, I've seen your comment. Eunice, if you are in a position where you can unmute and just say hi to the team, I think that's also important. We appreciate.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, so I'm well, and I was following, and I will say the same, that was an impactful lesson. I hope I am able to get it recorded, because I didn't get the first part. I came a bit late. Yeah, so God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Eunice. Eunice is joining us from India. I know most of us know she's been there for some time, and we continue to pray for her and her husband. I see Mr. Robert, you're saying my compliment. Awesome and well presented, kept time. Thank you, Mr. Robert. Good, I think probably we can pause there. We'll be back again on Friday. Friday, we'll look at the remaining sessions. I'll share this recording so that you take some time to reflect. I see there are some of you who already participated in cohort 1, the impact leader, and you're back to again just learn again with us. Thank you so much for coming. Leah Kelly and Benson Donjira, and also Edith, you are there in cohort 1, and we are glad that you're able to join us. So we'll resume on Friday, the same time. We'll go through the remaining lessons, and that will bring us to the end of the impact leader, and then we'll be able to share more details after that. Otherwise, thank you so much, leaders. Thank you for your time. May God bless you. And probably we can just unmute and share the words of grace as we bring this to a close. Thank you, Ed. I've seen your comment. I think you have noted your comment. We appreciate. So may the grace
Of our Lord Jesus Christ,
And
and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forever. Amen.
So leaders, have a blessed night, and thank you so much.
Good night. Yes, good night.
You too. Thank you.